Hi, students. I hope you're doing well. This is our second week of learning at home. This week, my goal is to get every student on Google Classroom so that we can start talking more easily, to make a video every day, and to send it out in the morning every day so that people have all day to watch it. We'll see how well I do with my goals. You could go ahead and think to yourself if you have any goals for this week. If you want to find ways to help your family, if you want to read a book you haven't read, or try a really hard kind of math problem. Today, we're going to read this book called Chameleons Are Cool. I've seen this book a lot in our library, but I've never actually read it till just now. Uh, and I think we've talked about a chameleon's a good amount. It's a really special kind of lizard. I really hope that it teaches us what about their bodies lets them change colors, but we'll see. Chameleons Are Cool by Martin Jenkins, illustrated by Sue Shields. And I see two different kinds. This one kind of has like some horns, and that one has more of a flat face. Maybe they're different. Chameleons are lizards, and lizards are reptiles, like snakes, crocodiles, and tortoises. There are about 4,000 kinds of lizards altogether, including around 120 different chameleons. Wow, that's a lot of chameleons. Just over half of all the types of chameleons come from Madagascar, a big island off the east coast of Africa. Most of the others live in mainland Africa. So we learned that. This is no pictures, just words. A lot of them come from Madagascar. Chameleons are cool. I always get confused which way this. Okay. Some lizards. There we go. Some lizards eat bananas. Chameleons don't. Some lizards walk upside down on the ceiling. Chameleons can't. There's even a lizard that glides from tree to tree. A chameleon certainly wouldn't do that. Oh my gosh, look at that one with the banana. That's so silly. But all the different kinds of lizards, I still think chameleons are the best. Chameleons are cool. I don't know if I'd want to eat that ice cream anymore. Maybe if it was my friend Chameleon. It's not that they're all that big. The biggest one is only about the size of a small cat. That's pretty big. It's called Aust- Austerlet's chameleon, and it lives in Madagascar. Whatever their size, chameleons usually get sick and die if they're kept as pets. They're much better off left in the wild. That's good to know. They can be really, really tiny, though. The smallest one could balance happily on your little finger. It's called the dwarf brocasia, and it lives in Madagascar too. So you can imagine one about the size of a cat, and one so little it could be on your finger. And I suppose you wouldn't exactly call many of them beautiful. Their skin is wrinkly and bumpy, and they've got big, bulgy eyes, while lots of them have the most ridiculous noses. I think it's their noses I like best. Wow, that one. That one's really funny. That one's really funny. Hello. And that one's really funny. That's a leaf. I thought that was a stick. I thought that was one of them. Oh my goodness. Their mouths are pretty odd too. Think about, what does that word odd mean? ODD. We have odd numbers, and then things can be also odd if they are a little bit strange. Their mouths are pretty odd too. They turn down at the corners. which is why chameleons always look grumpy. Hey, my mouth kind of goes down too. His too. Actually, they don't just look grumpy, they are grumpy. So if two chameleons bump into each other, things can get pretty lively. There's a lot of puffing and hissing, and sometimes there's a real fight. And that's why when chameleons do what they're most famous for, they change colors. So when do they change colors? When there's about to be a fight. A chameleon will fight only with the same kind of chameleon as itself. So I guess that means these two chameleons don't really fight. That's a good thing. That'd be bad for that little one. I would not want to fight this cat-sized one if I was that one. Lots of people think chameleons change colors to match their surroundings. They don't. I thought that. I guess I was wrong. They change colors when they're angry, or when they're too cold or too hot, or when they're sick. And there are some sorts of chameleons, that hardly change colors at all. So it says they change when they're angry, cold, hot, or sick. As a rule, though, chameleons don't bump into one another all that often. I suppose it wouldn't be fair to call them lazy, but they certainly don't move any more than they have to. And when they do, it's almost always incredibly slow. They don't seem that fast to me. Sometimes they stop completely in mid-step. So they're about to step in the middle of their step, as if they've forgotten what they're supposed to be doing. But if you look closely, you'll see that they're actually carefully peering about and peering around. A chameleon's feet are shaped like pincers for holding on to branches tightly. Another animal that we studied had pincers, but they looked really differently. Which animal did we study a lot that has pincers? Crawdads? Now, peering about is something chameleons are rather good at. They're good at looking around. That's because their eyes can move separately from each other, unlike our eyes, which always move together. Unless you can go cross-eyed and you could hold one and move the other. I can't do that. So, while one eye is looking back over the shoulder, the other one is scanning the branches around. As soon as it spots something tasty, the chameleon focuses both eyes on its prey and begins to creep forward, even more slowly than usual. Then it opens its mouth just a crack and thwap! I didn't get to read everything on this one, though. I also want to. Most of a chameleon's eyes is covered in skin like the rest of its body. So its eye has skin over it. There's a tiny peephole in the middle that the chameleon sees through. So interesting. So most of its eye is skin, and there's a tiny hole that the chameleon can look through. So then it opens its mouth just a crack and thwap! Out shoots this amazing long tongue with a sticky tip at the end, like a piece of well-chewed chewing gum. Chameleons feed on all sorts of creepy crawlers. The big ones also eat small birds, mice, and even other chameleons. Huh. That kind of reminds me of the crawdads a little too, and what the crawdads would eat if they got the chance. Then the tongue flies back in, and there's a lot of chomping and chewing, and perhaps a few bits of insect leg fluttering to the ground. And after that, the chameleon just sits there for an hour or two, doing nothing very much at all, looking quite exhausted and still grumpy after all that hard work. Most chameleons gulp their food down without chewing it, but chameleons grind. Excuse me, I read it wrong. Most lizards gulp their food down without chewing it, but chameleons grind everything up thoroughly. See the way he's holding onto that tree real tight? I wonder if they ever hold on with their tail. I haven't seen that yet. And there you have it. How could you possibly resist a pocket sized, bad temper, color changing, swivel eye, snail paced, long tongue sharpshooter? He does look really grumpy there. If chameleons aren't cool, then I don't know what is. You can kind of see on the eye there how it says it's all skin until one peephole. And that's how the chameleon sees. That'd be kind of hard. In the end. Ooh, and here we have the index of the book. So if you want to learn about fighting, what page should you go to? 16 and 17. All right, students, I'm going to post some questions about this book for your journal entry, okay? So I really want you to watch this video first and then go online and do your journal entry. And I'm going to ask you some questions about the index, okay? I miss you all so much. I hope you're staying safe and helping your family whenever you can. I'm really hoping that I'll see you soon. I would love if you would share what kind of fun projects you're working on. And a few friends made some really fun Flipgrid videos. If you need any help with anything, please remember that I'm here to help. And I miss being able to help you every day. Okay? Big hug. Can't wait till I can give you a real life hug. See you later.